So today we'll be discussing employee safety and international HRM, which is in Unit 5 of your Human Resource Management subject KMBN 202. So talking about safety in simple terms, it means freedom from occurrence of any risk or injury or loss. So industrial safety or employee safety, it refers to the protection of workers from the danger of industrial accidents. So what accident? So accident is then an unplanned and uncontrolled event in which an action or reaction of an object, a substance, a person, or a radiation results in personal injury. So why organizations should think of employee safety at workplace? Because it helps in cost saving, because when your employees are safe, you are having a secured environment for your employees, so they will ensure leave free, accident free working in an organization or in your production unit. So it will help in cost reduction, and obviously you need not to compensate them if there are fewer accidents. Then it will increase productivity. Then legally you will be supported by the government. You might not encounter any legal actions if you are not giving any safety and secure environment. And then obviously it is a moral responsibility and duty of employer to provide safe and secure environment to the employee who is working in your organization. Now there are certain type of accidents that might occur when you are working in the organization. So accidents maybe have been divided into internal and external accidents. Now both categories might be further divided into major accidents and minor accidents. What are major accidents? Major accidents might be fatal. That means a person might he might succumb to injuries, he might die. And then we have disability. So disability, when we talk about, and then there would be accident which might lead to disability. So disability means it then disability mean it could be permanent, it could be temporary. Permanent, where it could be partial disability, it could be total disability, that wherein a person is losing maybe any part, any body part, any organ, which hinders him in continuing further with the organization. And similarly we have temporary disability. That means which again can be partial or total disability. Which partial means, for example, partial wherein a person is held back by the accident, by the disability, for a temporary phase of time. And similarly total disability for a temporary period of time. That means he might come back to the organization and work. So these are the type of accidents that have been classified. So what could be the common causes of industrial accidents? Basically it is when you have improperly guarded equipments, you have defective equipments, you might have hazardous arrangement or procedure around machines. There is unsafe storage, congestion, overloading. Then sometimes it might happen that you have inadequate safety devices, faulty layout, bad location, wherein you have insufficient light, insufficient ventilation, then air charge, impure air, and poor housekeeping. So it might lead to the accidents. And sometimes it happens that job itself is so risky. For example, people who are working in mines, people who are working in chemical plants, people who are working near furnaces. So the job itself is involving high risk, where it might lead to the accident. Then work schedules like day shifts, night shifts, again the psychological climate of the workplace. Then there are sometimes certain causes which is from the employee side itself. That means your organization is giving you a secure environment, but employee is taking for granted the safety and security provisions. For example, he's operating without authority, he's failing to secure equipment or warning other employees of possible danger, throwing materials on the floor carelessly, operating without unsafe, without levels of, having unsafe levels of speed. Maybe he's not wearing protective equipments, he's using unsafe equipment, he's following unsafe procedures in loading, placing, he's taking unsafe positions under suspended loads, lifting improperly, then distracting, teasing, abusing, quarreling, and these type of also acts might lead to various type of accidents in the organization. Then there could be certain machine related factors that might cause accidents in the organization. So it could be, for example, that machine is or equipment is not guarded properly, it is defective equipment, there are deficiency in tools, deficiency in plants, unsafely designed tools, insufficient lighting, there is glare, improper ventilation is there, poor housekeeping, lack of automatic or quick stoppage devices, then defective electrical fitting, etc. So all these might lead to accidents. So therefore we need to have a certain measures which ensures industrial safety. So in order to reduce or minimize the physical hazards and accidents, effective safety management must be followed in the industries. First is safety engineering, then it could be safety training and education, safety committee, regular inspection. So when you have all these things in place, so it will result in ensuring more safety and fewer accidents or lesser accidents. But having said that, we have again a national policy on safety and health environment at workplace. So national policy was declared on 20th February 2009, and policy is not restricted to large and organized sectors but also extends even to MSMEs and unorganized sectors. So basically this national policy was, you can say, extended part of directive principles which the Constitution of India is providing detailed provisions for the rights of the citizens, and also lays down the directive principles of safe state policy which sets an aim with to which the activities of the states are to be guided. And on the basis of these directive principles as well as international instruments, so government is committed to regulate all economic activities for management of safety and health risks at workplace, and to provide measures so as to ensure safety and health working conditions for every working man and woman in the nation. So these basically directive principles on which the national policy has been framed, it provides for securing the health and strength of employees, men and women, that the tender age of the children is not abused, citizens are not forced by economic necessity to enter a vocation unsuited to their age or strength, just and human condition of work, maternity relief, and the government shall take steps by suitable legislation. So all these on the basis of directive principles, on 20th February 2009, a full-fledged national policy on safety and health was laid down with the objectives of continuous reduction in the incidence of work-related injuries, fatality, diseases, disasters, and loss of national assets, then improved coverage of work-related injuries, fatalities and diseases, and provide for a more comprehensive database for facilitating better performance and monitoring, then continuous enhancement of community awareness regarding safety, health and environment at a workplace related, and continually increasing community expectation of workplace health and safety standards. There are certain provisions also that has been laid down by the Factories Act 1947, which relates to the health of the employee. So it says that factory needs to be kept clean and free from efflua and dirt. Arrangements should be made for disposal of waste and effluents, Adequate ventilation and temperature should be provided. Measures to be taken for prevention of inhalation or accumulation of dust and fumes. Then standards for artificial humidification needs to be fixed. There should not be any overcrowding related to injuries to health of workers. It should be avoided. Then sufficient and suitable lighting must be provided in every part of the factory. Glazed windows must be kept clean. Measures should be taken for prevention of glare and formation of shadows. So suitable points for wholesome drinking water must be provided. So all these, there are much more provisions that is being provided by the Factories Act for which is related to the health of the employee. And for safety, it is talking about fencing of machinery, that employment of young persons on dangerous machines should be avoided. Then casing of new machinery should be done. Prohibition of employment of women and children near cotton openers. Then revolving machinery, pressure plants, floors, stairs and means or access. Then precautions should be related to the portable electrical light, explosive, inflammable dust, gas, precautions in case of fire. Specifications of director safety officers should be there in the plant. Then there should be provision for regarding to the welfare, which includes washing facilities, facilities for storing, drying, first aid facilities, canteen, shelters, welfare officers. So all these provisions are being provided by your Factories Act 1947. Then coming towards the international HRM, which again is an extension to the HRM. HRM is restricted to the or limited to the domestic human resource management, wherein you are managing within a particular country. So international HRM is defined as a set of activities aimed at managing organizational human resource at international level to achieve organizational goals and achieve competitive advantage over competitors at national and international level, because we are in the era of globalization. So we are talking about MNC culture, we are having MNCs. So it is very important that IHRM must be studied as a altogether different subject, wherein it focuses on how we should deal with the culture, how we should deal with the legal aspects, how we should deal with the industrial relations at the international level. So it includes typical HRM functions such as recruitment, selection, training and development, performance appraisal and dismissal, which is done at the international level, and additional activities such as global skill management, expatriate management and so on. Talking about international HRM, we have, if we see the model of IHRM, which is given by P.V. Morgan, he says that we have three different type of employees, three different type of countries, and we have certain human resource activities. We have HCNs, we have PCNs, we have TCNs, and we have different type of countries which is involved in international human resource management. So basically, before we start discussing this model, we must have a clear picture about the role of international HRM. So it is the basis of success of any global multinational organization. It enhances employees' effectiveness to achieve goals of the organization and meet the needs to develop employees to assume more diverse tasks, and which has got the better understand and culture variations across the nations. So IHRM department deals with the heterogeneous functions to give additional focus on various aspects. For example, we have more involvement in employees' personal life. It deals with different group of employees, that is PCN, HCN, TCN, and we have to manage external influences, that is host government authorities, business and other interest pressure and labor groups. It lays different emphasis on management trainee to deal diverse workforce, their orientation and to meet international environment, and to provide guidance and guidance on taxation and compensation aspects. So we have three type of employees here. We have HCN, we have PCN, we have TCN. For example, let us suppose we have a organization, for example TCS. TCS is India-based Indian MNC headquartered at headquartered at Mumbai. So TCS now will be, for example, when it operates in, let us suppose, US. So it is operating in USA. So now TCS, the employees who are being, who are working with the headquarters and are Indian origin will be PCNs. That means parent country nationals. And then we have employees who are working with TCS USA in America. So US, all American citizens who are working in TCS USA or New York, they would be host country nationals. And there could be another third category of nationals who is working who is working with TCS. It could be from, let us suppose, any Gulf country where we do not have operations, and it could be from any other where we do not have any operations, but they are working with TCS. So these type of employees are TCNs, third country nationals. So parent country nationals are those employees who belong to a country of origin of the company, host country where it is operating, and host country nationals are working in the organization, they are HCNs. And third country, neither they belong to parent country nor to host country, but they are from third country nationals. Similarly, on the basis of countries where you are operating, it is home country, that means where headquarters are located, host country where your operations, where you are having your operations, and other countries. Then activities are same. You need to procure, you need to allocate, you need to utilize your human resource at the international level. So talking about how to deal with, now we have different approaches: ethnocentric approach, polycentric approach, geocentric approach, and regiocentric approach. Talking about the approaches, ethnocentric approach of IHRM means wherein the control is purely with the headquarter. That means whatever policies, practices are being implemented in say in a company operating besides headquarters, and it is being controlled by the headquarter, the approach is ethnocentric. That means it is not decentralized, it's a centralized approach. We have example, ethnocentric. For ethnocentric approach, we have all most of the Japanese companies, they have ethnocentric approach. Then polycentric approach is that now you are giving freedom to the host countries. That means you are framing down your policies, practices, you are recruiting from the host country itself. So you are giving control to the host country itself. So that is making the flexibility in the approach. So that is what is polycentric approach. Then geocentric approach. Geocentric approach is that you are before discussing geocentric, I would like to discuss regiocentric. Regiocentric is wherein you are dividing your operations on the basis of regions. For example, you are on the basis of locations. For example, you have operations in say for example India, you have in China, you have in Japan, you have in Bhutan or Bangladesh. So you are now categorizing it as the Asia region, right? Similarly, you might have operations in Dubai, you might have operations in Muscat, you might have operations in say Riyadh, you might have operations in Iran. So you are now classifying that as Gulf countries. Similarly, in European countries. So you are deciding the approach as per the regions, because why you are doing that? Because there is a bit of cultural similarity between the countries of the same region, although it is not purely same culture, but a bit of cultural exchange is more easier in the same type of region. Then on the basis of geocentric is an altogether open approach wherein you have flexibility of the systems. You just want best person from any who can nook of from any nook and corner of the world to work for your organization, irrespective of the region, irrespective of the parent country, host country. So your approach is to stand out and to compete in a very competitive market so as to have maximum competitive advantage as compared to your competitors. So you are having a geocentric approach. You are not restricting as an organization to a particular, say, geographical location. And the example for polycentric, regiocentric, we have Nike, we have for geocentric we have Google. Polycentric approach, again, we have Coca-Cola. These all companies, they have different type of approaches when it comes to handling international operations. Then there are certain principles which govern your international human resource management. This is why because of these principles or these factors, it makes international human resource management very important and very different as a subject compared to human resource management. First is cultural factors, second is economic condition, and then we have labor cost factors and labor relations and labor relations and labor cost factors. Cultural factors, because every country is having different culture, so every person is being born and brought up in a different culture, which is shaping his personality, his thought process, his attitude, his ability, his IQ, his EQ. Therefore culture has a huge impact on the employee. So it is very important to study the cultural factors so as to handle their aspirations and their way of working accordingly. Then economic conditions, because economic conditions too vary from country to country depending upon their political system, depending upon the political scenario of that particular country. So now economic condition will have direct impact on the compensation, the taxation policy, and all those which are related to the finance and cost prevailing in that particular country. So it will have a huge impact on governing international human resource operations. Then labor cost factors, because labor cost factor will depend on various demographic factors as well, maybe the education system of that particular country, the gender ratio, the participation rate of employment in the employment of male female, and the availability of labor in that particular market. So all that will enhance your labor cost and will have an impact on labor cost of the for the particular operations. Then labor relations, because labor relations are purely controlled by the unions. So every country is having different approach towards accepting and towards encouraging union as a part of system. For example, let us suppose in India, we encourage formation of unions because it is one of the, you can say, approaches that is being reflected in the Constitution of India, that wherein we encourage associations, employee associations in India. So the approach towards union is a positive. As compared to USA, where the approach towards US, they do not encourage formation of unions, they do not take formation of unions in a very healthy manner. Similarly is with China. So therefore the involvement of union in the day-to-day operations and the decision making of the company is going to have a impact on the overall operations, because they will control your cost, they will control your productivity, and they will have control over the relations of the employer and employee in the organization. Then last topic for this particular subject is role of culture in HRM, because it has a huge impact in dealing with human resource management. And it is basically what herein we are going to discuss is Hofstede's cultural dimension. So Hofstede, he divided dimensions on the basis of four say cultural dimensions. First is power distance, second is uncertainty avoidance, third is individualism versus collectivism, and masculinity versus femininity. So power distance basically is the degree to which individuals agree that power should be dispersed unequally or equally in the society. So Hofstede's power distance index, it tells how much one's country is less powerful to accept and respect the unequal power which is being distributed. So power distance, it plays a role in employees' willingness to accept supervisory direction and on their emphasis on gaining support from those in the position of authority. So people in high power distance cultures, they accept more guidance from superiors, and this extra attention makes their status, high status employees and more enthusiastic about work as compared to lower power distance cultures where wage differentials between men and women is smaller. Then second is uncertainty avoidance. It basically denotes to the extent to which individuals feels threatened by and try to avoid uncertain situations. That means what is your risk taking ability as a person belonging to a particular country. So uncertainty about the future is basic fact of the human life. So high uncertainty avoidance, that means you are avoiding uncertainty, has more worries about future and anything uncertain, and therefore more ways to find ways to defend against those anxieties, and similarly low uncertainty avoidance societies have fewer fears about the uncertainty. So in these particular countries you might have see people who want to take risk, who want to accept challenging jobs, and who are more who have more bent of entrepreneurial mindset. So and therefore such society, don't care much about the rule. People of uncertainty avoidance culture are more expressive and driven by inner energy. So therefore people in uncertainty accepting cultures, they may be more tolerant of avoid different opinions and relevant unstructured situations. Then we have individualism versus collectivism. Talking about individualism, which defines against the opposite individualism, that means wherein you are more you have a more individualistic bent of mind. So the degree to which the society encourage and rewards maybe individual actions or collective actions, so the culture which is inclined towards the individualistic is more focused on one's own desires and values and serves their own interest by relying on individual exertions. So these type of people who belong to these countries, so the relationship between people are regardless important than oneself, so they are very self-centered. On the other hand, compared with the collectivism, the culture is inclined to be collective, which is more focused on teams and different they do not differentiate between the employee based on their individual preferences or performances. So these societies also use reward system that are non-competitive in nature, and employees from more individualistic cultures, they tend to be more driven by improving themselves and their own positions in life. So you can very well understand that how culture impacts the human resource management, because in MNC culture we have people working from different countries under single roof, and as an HR manager you need to understand which culture he is hailing from, which country he is hailing from, and so that you can devise your strategies accordingly. Then masculinity and femininity, it refers to the distribution of roles between genders. It is also referred to as assertiveness, which emphasis on competition. So in feminine cultures, the hero is less visible. It seeks consensus and is intuitive and cooperative rather than tough and decisive. So at work in more feminine societies, more weightage is attached to subjectivity, intuition oriented conditions such as care, nurturing and relationships. So these type of is these type of approaches, or these type of say subjectivities are referred to as feminist culture, and which is altogether opposite in masculine culture. So all these different type of cultures, they have a huge impact on the operation, the framing of policies and practices of the organization as an entire system. So we cannot ignore the role of culture in managing international operations or in managing human resource management in general. So this was all about Unit 5. Thank you.